With this true blue salute, I'm Karla Nichols. Joining me today to share a little bit more about his experience with the FFA program is Kooper Jelinek. How are you doing today, Cooper?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. In talking about your experience with the FFA, let's start from the beginning. How did you get involved with the FFA program?
I'm originally from Atkinson, Nebraska, and went to West Holt High School. Being a small town of 1,200 people, just kind of agriculture was surrounding you in a lot of different ways. One way to do that when you're in high school is to make sure that you join the FFA program. And it was something that was pretty heavy in my family, and a lot of people were involved. And so it was just something that I was just wanting to do because of those people that I looked up to, and it was pretty easy to make the choice and make the jump and join on board with them.
In talking about your involvement while you were a member of the FFA, you also were one of the state officers, one of the Nebraska State FFA officers from 2019 and 2020. Share a little bit more about that experience of also state.
Made my decision late that year of 2019. I think applications were supposed to be in February, and I'm pretty sure I made my decision in February. And was able to go through that process, and what a unique process that is, and going through some pretty intense interview rounds and different things that has taught me a lot throughout life and made some things very less nerve wracking when getting in those types of situations. Give a lot of props to FFA on that deal. Um, and then met a lot of people and connections through that, and then was able to have the opportunity to serve as a state officer. And our year was pretty unique. As everybody knows, in 2020, COVID hit, and so we were the first team to not have a state convention. So we had everything was normal, pretty much the first 11 months of our year, and then COVID hit, and it was all kind of shut down. So we had to I guess do our state convention online a little bit, but yeah, it was so unique to just have those opportunities to meet members and travel the state and learn different things that chapters were doing, as well as those people in the industry and what they were doing, and had the opportunity from that to take a trip to DC a couple times, meet state officers from other states, see how they do things in their state, and as well as travel overseas, and went to Spain and Portugal for a 2-week trip that we got to tour a lot of different ag places, and just see how ag is done over there, and completely different kind of culture from us too. Pretty unique opportunity.
And talking about the opportunity in general from being a part of the FFA program, growing up with it through your local FFA chapter, and then also being at the state level and seeing all these different FFA programs throughout the US, what would you say were some of the benefiting factors of being a part of the program as a whole from the start to finishing out as being a state officer?
Yeah, I think one of the main things that I learned, and one of the big key takeaways from all the way from the membership at the local level all the way to state, would be the ability to take change head on. I think the industry as a whole can always take on change, whether that be different ways to manage things on the ranch or the farm, or different things like that. And it seems like we oftentimes get in this sense that this is the way that we've done it forever, and so that's the way we're going to do it. Opening your mind into some different opportunities and different ways to do things is probably what opened my mind up more than anything. And a big key takeaway from that is even that as a person, like just because you say just because you believe something for so long, and it's embedded in you. Also, at the same time, keeping yourself having an open mind, and being able to change as a person and as a leader because of past experiences, or different things like that maybe somebody else had, and then you also had that experience. So just being able to take on change head on, and just adapt and overcome different situations. That was one of the key takeaways that I had throughout my year.
And talking a lot about the past, now looking at the present and using those different key factors of kind of keep the ball rolling, like, know to how to improv, basically, like you mentioned. In talking about that present day, how does that impacted your career that you have now?
Yeah. So I graduated college. It would have been 2023, and then I went back home. And this is just kind of the way my career has already gone. But went back home and worked for about 9 months at the local livestock market there. Um, found my wife at college, and so I proposed to her 4 months in after I graduated, and then she took a job down at Ansley, and so we decided we needed to move, and so kind of had to let all that go from the home life and just take it all in stride, and so was able to find a connection, local connections around Sargent is where we live, and then just kind of taking that head on. And I help a guy run a ranch, a young guy like myself run a ranch just south of Sargent, and it just so there's so many times throughout life that a guy has to just I guess take, like you say, take it head on and take it with just go with it. And so we were able to do that, and it's worked out so far. And so being able to take that change on is something important.
And you mentioned that your wife is the Ansley FFA advisor and you guys live in Sargent. Share a little bit more about how the FFA program still impacts your daily life and what ways do you help support the program?
Yeah, a lot of the times, even from back home, I get asked to do some interview prep or judge at some contests, and so that's something that I really like doing. Is right. I had all these experiences while I was a member, and also at the state level, and so the unique opportunity to be able to give back to those local programs as well as the state is something I look forward to whenever those opportunities arise. And so, yeah, I get to oftentimes judge and do some fun things and be on the other side of it. Where I was a member once and had to be nervous going in front of those people. I get the opportunity to see it from the other side too. So I love to give back, and those are the ways I'm helping out and trying to support for the future generations of agriculturalists.
And in wrapping up our conversation today, with your support, being a right hands on with the FFA members, being one of the judges, looking back on all of your years within the program, what piece of advice would you give students that are just now starting out in their FFA career or kind of wrapping up? This might be their last year competing in FFA contests. What advice would you give them?
To do it, do everything and anything you can. Like, if you're nervous or you're scared, don't let that be the reason to not do maybe a contest or a leadership event or different things like that. Those are the things that push you outside your comfort zone. Those are the things that, like I talked about earlier, that are pushing you to change and pushing you to grow. And that's the biggest part of being a part of FFA. You have to have an exponential growth mindset, and without doing that and taking those things head on, you won't have that and won't have the ability to have those experiences. And what a great way to do that before heading to college and head into your career and different things like that. So, big supporter of FFA on that front.
Well, thank you for taking the time to join me today. Again, we were talking with Kooper Jelinek, a previous Nebraska FFA state officer and supporter of the Nebraska FFA chapters.